Hi, this is Esther with Discover Your Origins. In this video, I'm returning back to the Langford Descendancy Project, and today we're going to ask the question, does it make sense? As I've been working through the Langford stuff, it's been a little frustrating because I've not been able to find a lot of direct evidence. Based on indirect evidence, I've been able to connect with a question mark Nancy Langford and Tyre Snellgrove and their two daughters, Martha Ann and Grace. I've done the descendancy research that I can find on Martha Ann Snellgrove, and I've started working on Grace. So let me move forward here to their profiles. You can see in the FamilySearch page that I've added some alert notes explaining how and why I've connected Grace to Tyre and Nancy as parents, and with her husband, Peter Shealy, or Shealy. Not really sure how that's pronounced. But what I can find is that Peter and Grace had two boys, John Edmund Shealy and James William Shealy. And I've done descendancy research on John Edmund Shealy, and there wasn't anything, super interesting to talk about. And so I'm going to move forward here with James. And I had done a bit of looking at James William Shealy, and you can see here I've got different information, particularly with his relationships, his wife and children. We've got a different wife and children on FamilySearch than I do on Ancestry, and I can't really say which one is correct right now. And the first thing to do is, of course, review what you know. For example, I know where James William Shealy was living in 1860 and 1870. And this 1880 census I'm going to talk about here in a minute, but let's look at the 1860. So 1860 census, they were living near Draughts Mill in Lexington County, South Carolina, and he's with his parents and his brother. Okay, 1870, we know that his father was killed in the Civil War and his mother most likely has died because the two boys are living with Nancy Hepp. And I don't know who Nancy Hepp is other than her name shows up in some documents, land records with Peter Shealy as a neighbor. So if these boys were orphaned by 1870, then it's very possible that a neighbor could have taken them in. It's also possible that Nancy Hepp is a relative, maybe their maternal grandmother, Tyre Snellgrove's wife, who remarried. I don't really know. I've not found any evidence of that. The marriage record collections that I've been able to search, I've not seen. I had assumed that Nancy Langford had passed away by this point, but it's not really clear. So regardless, this Nancy Hepp was living next door to Peter Shealy and Grace Snellgrove, and so she's taken in the boys in 1870, and they're living in Hollow Creek, South Carolina. So now this 1880 census I found, and it was a record hint on Ancestry, and it's got James, 19 years old, living in Gilbert Hollow, Lexington, South Carolina, married with a 1-year-old child. And we can look a little bit closer at this census record. There's not really here, there's a few things here that make me think, okay, this seems to be a match. And first thing is there are some other Shealys living nearby. So we got a Mary and Sally Shealy, a James, and Laura is the family that we're looking at right now. The highlight is incorrect at Ancestry for whatever reason. And so that makes me think, okay, maybe that's a good match. And that's why I added it to my tree. And I needed to look and see where his brother was living in 1880 because he's 19 years old and there's a good chance that his brother is living near him. He's slightly older. And so let's look at the 1880 census here. Okay, John Shealy is living with this Ephes Hare, who's 60 years old. in Germanville, Edgefield, South Carolina, which is not that far from Lexington County. It's a neighboring county. So it's plausible. Let's view the image. And when I was looking at this, okay, so here's John E. Shealy with Ephes Hare. There's a John W. Hare living next door. And then if you look, there's a William Shealy, age 21, which is it within the range of being a brother? And his name was John William. Could he have gone by William Shealy? And I think the answer is very possible. And so I need to look and see, because this Hare is the same last name as his paternal grandmother. So I need to look at the tree and see where he could possibly be living. So I'm just going to jump over here to FamilySearch and look at the tree from here, because I don't have all of these people in my ancestry tree. Okay, so here's James William in the center right here. Here's his father, mother, Peter Shealy, and then here's Barbara Nancy Hare, who is his paternal grandmother. And so we need to look and see who this Ephes Hare is, if we can try and identify a possible family member. And he was 60 years old in 1880, so that means he was born about 1820. And I don't see here in this Lawrence Hare family an Ephes. The only person that is close is this Christiana Hare, born in 1820. It doesn't mean anything though, so let's put Lawrence in the center of the tree and look at his descendants. Okay, I'm gonna change spouse probably here. Okay. Okay, so this John Hare could have had a child in 1820. He did. I don't see an Ephes Hare though. Let's look at this Peter Hare. Okay, there's not an Ephes Hare there either. Edward Hare. There's another Snellgrove. There's a Goff. I run into a Goff and a Kraut. They're definitely having interactions with this family. Oh, here's an Epsie Shealy, born in 1819. Oh, we need to go back and see if that was a male or a female. I wonder if it's this family here. And it would make sense because they're in Lexington County still. Like Peter Hare here, he's married in Talladega, Alabama. And this John Hare, where did his kids go? They're in Edgefield. Okay. And then Henry gets to be he's born in 1813. So I'm gonna go and look at this. Oh, okay. So this Epsie Shealy is born or living in Edgefield County in 1860. We don't have an 1880 census record, but okay, here's Germanville, 1900 census, Edgefield, South Carolina, Epsie Shealy. Okay, I need to go back. All right, so right here, I'm gonna go to Peter. Let's go back to James here. We'll just get that re-centered. All right, So while that's loading, I'm going to jump back over here to John Edmund and look at this 1880 census again. Ephes Hare, 60 years old. Ooh, okay. This Ephes Hare is a female. Okay, so it probably is that Epsy Hare that's in the census there. Who's they living with? Albert Ergel and Nancy. Okay. These are probably all family members then, extended family. And this is John W. Hare. Oh, okay. John W. Hare is 40. Okay, I shouldn't have closed this tree. So let me get back there. So in 1880, someone who's 40 would have been born in 1860. Okay, view tree. Okay, so this Epsy here, that is a very good candidate. And then a John W. Hare. Oh, yep. Here's Albert Luther Ergel and Sarah Nancy Hare. So yes, Epsy is living in the household of Albert Ergel in 1880. And the John W. Hare, oh, right here. Okay. Do we have the 1880 census? We don't. But I found them, so I'm going to have to look for the census and attach it to these people. But that means that John William Shealy was probably living here with and working on the farm with John Wesley Hare, because that's what the census is showing. So let's look here. So we've got Epphis is how it's spelled here, but it's Epsy. And here's Albert. So let me scroll this over here. Here's Albert and Nancy with their children. And then John W. Hare and Catherine, which is a match for that. And they have a child named Henry. Oh, and this Eliza Fulmer is probably Catherine's mother, 70. And then William Shealy, who's 21. Interesting. Okay. So I think we've answered the question. I think this is William Shealy. So the census record that I had connected on Ancestry is probably wrong. I mean, that makes the most sense to me when you're answering the question. What makes sense? It makes sense that John William Shealy wouldn't be far from his brother if they were orphans, which we were pretty confident that's what happened. So let me get back over here and get back to James William Shealy. So on Ancestry, it's pretty easy to fix something that you know is wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to delete these individuals because I think they're wrong. So to delete a profile on Ancestry, you can come up to, let's see, it's a little pencil icon and click delete person. And I'm going to come to this wife and delete that person. Okay, I had a little snafu with Ancestry. I'm back now, and I've got James William Shealy here. It would make the most sense if James William Shealy was with his brother and the person that finished raising them, or the family that finished raising them, which is the Hares. So I've removed Laura and Lon as a spouse and child from my Ancestry page and disconnected the 1880 census record that I thought might be them. So reviewing what I know and what makes sense is James William Shealy, and I've got to go and connect that 1880 census record where he's living next to his brother. That makes the most sense. And so now when I come over and look at James William Shealy on FamilySearch, there's some things that I'm questioning. So let's look at a little bit closer. All right, so we have the drafts mill 1860 and then the 1870 Lexington County, South Carolina census records attached to him, but it's saying that his death is in Rhode Island in 1936 and that his marriage was in Rhode Island, and his children that are attached to him all say Shelley, except for one here where it's Shealy or Shayley. And all of these children are born in, looks like Rhode Island, except for this Shayley here. So we need to go and look at the sources here. It's not outside the realm of possibility that James William Shealy could have relocated. But let's look. So James William Shealy, 1886, and he's married. Says he's 26 years old, which is about the right age. According to this census record, let's see. Oh, this is a marriage record. Estimated birth year, 1858. Doesn't give a birthplace. The image is not available, so we can't look at it. Let's look at the 1900 census, because I did see that. James Shealy in 1900. Okay, it says his birthplace is in Rhode Island. So probably a pretty big red flag that this is an incorrect connection right off the bat. I mean, we know our James William Shealy is in South Carolina, born in Lexington County, South Carolina, based on the census there. And so we've got a bunch of Rhode Island records for the children. 1910 census, we can just look at that again. Again, born in Rhode Island. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the details page. Most likely this is wrong. And so first thing I'm going to do is I need to disconnect these children and the spouse from James William Shealy in FamilySearch. And that can be a little bit tricky. So first thing I'm going to do here is go to this marriage, and I want to keep the children with Catherine if possible. So I'm actually going to go to Catherine's page here and do it from her side. I think that will keep the children with her and not have them floating around. So let's do that. We're going to remove him. So we're going to remove the husband. I have to say that you've reviewed that. Remove the husband. This person. You need to write an explanation. Okay, so that left the children connected to this person here. I don't really know about this William I. Shealy. Let's look at the sources here. He's born in Pennsylvania, so I'm not even really sure that he's a child of this couple. Yeah, his father's name is W.I. Shealy. So yeah, that's mixed up. I'm just going to leave it there because it's not the family I'm working on. I'm going to go back to James William here. All right, so now he's not attached to that family anymore. And the problem is I need to clean up some of these other things. I need to disconnect sources and remove this death information. So this will be a little bit tedious. So I'll do I will do an example and then fast forward to when it's all done. So for example, this marriage record for James William Shealy and Katie McKenna. I'm just going to detach. And I'll explain that James William Shealy and James William Shealy are two different people in different locations. And I'm going to use this reason statement over again. So I'm going to copy that and so I can paste it again and we'll detach. Okay, so that's gone. So now I'm going to go through and do that for all the things related to Rhode Island. Okay, so now we're back down to the two known census records. I need to go and find the 1880 census and attach it here on FamilySearch as well as on my ancestry tree. Now I do need to remove this date information, death information. So we're just gonna delete it and save. Okay, and then when you detach a source in FamilySearch, it does not delete from the events, and so you do need to come in here and delete these. I can put in the same reason statement. And it is important to do that so that you're not getting incorrect record hints in the future. Okay, so that's cleaned up. So now I'm going to go here to John Edmund Shealy and look for that 1880 census. Okay, here it is. Let's go to the record page. And let's see. Okay, this isn't, I've got to actually, let's go to the image. Okay. And let's see if it will get me to the other. Okay, here's William Shealy right here. So let's get him. All right. And I want to attach him to James William. So let's get his ID. I just clicked on his person ID here and it copied. And so then I'll come back to this and we'll attach to the family tree. Okay, if FamilySearch can't find the match right off the bat, you can just paste the ID in and then select the person and it will match then, and then you can compare. We're going to add this. He's in Germanville, and then we'll just say he is living with extended family. Brother is next door, so likely not match. Okay, we'll attach. Okay, so now he's been added. So now we'll return to James William Shealy. And now we have the three sources. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on Ancestry, and I'll check back in, later and see if I get any better record hints. For the moment, this might be where I have to end things with this particular descendancy and move on to the next James Langford child and work from the descendancy on that. I hope that was helpful. When you're looking at things at FamilySearch, I know it can be frustrating, but ask, does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, then clean it up like I did here in this example. It's the only way that FamilySearch family tree is going to get better is if we ask, does it make sense? And if it doesn't, let's clean it up. So anyway, again, I hope that was helpful. We'll see you next time.